All right, so this one is the Northern Tool 2-inch high pressure pump that, well, I got from Northern Tool. And you can see there, yeah, you can see the item number and everything on that one. Um, I've had this one for a couple years now. And let's see, I got 86.7 hours on it. I haven't done anything to it at all, aside from adding the hour meter. And yeah, 86.7. Haven't done anything to it aside from add the hour meter. I forget if I wrote on the air filter when I got it. Yeah. So August of 17 was when I got it. And oh, I guess I must have cleaned this foam on the air filter already, but it had had a bunch of shit on the air filter, and hopefully you can get an idea here that on this air filter base, come on, fucker. There's nothing on the bottom here. It's just this little, there you go. So when you put the air filter on here, like, so there's nothing to seal off the bottom of it. Like, shit can just go, straight up into the air filter, like so. And so yeah, I must have already cleaned off the pre-filter deal on here, this piece of foam. I oil these things. And but anyways, when I was running it, there was like, dead grasshoppers and dandelion fluff and all kinds of shit on that. Because there is no sort of screen or nothing whatsoever. It's just a big open gaping hole to reach up in there. So hence why next video here, I'm going to convert that to the Cyclone pre-cleaner. But this has been a really, really good pump. Had it, coming on 4 years now? Haven't put too many hours on it because, like I was saying, the main purpose for this thing is for fire suppression at my place. It can be very dry and dusty and high risk of wildfire around here, and thankfully we haven't had anything too close to the house in a while, but I want to be prepared for when I do. So as of so far, I've only used this thing to water the grass, and hopefully it'll remain that way. This thing with this engine will run about, I don't know, maybe 8 normal sprinklers at a time, which is really cool. It's got to be full bore to do that, but it'll run 2, 3, 4 sprinklers at, like, I don't know, 30% throttle or something. If you deadhead the pump, it makes about 100 psi of pressure, and I don't know, maybe 20 gallons a minute, say, just assuming here, it'll probably do 75 psi or something. So for being so small and everything, it does really well. It's certainly not a proper high pressure pump that can make 300 psi or whatever, but a lot better than pissing on the fire, I'll tell you that much. And also too, the idea being with this is to get everything wet and soaked down before the fire comes around, because if your house has got 30-foot flames coming off the top of it, then just this little pump ain't gonna do too much. Still better than pissing on it, but the point is to prevent the fire in the first place. So if you can get everything soaked down and have sprinklers going, raise the humidity in the air, it actually makes a pretty big difference. But so yeah, add the hour meter, and then of course the magnetic dipstick on it to catch any ferrous material that's in the oil. And my reason for switching shit around here. Oh, and obviously I took it out of the frame. It does come with a frame, but like I said, I'm switching shit around and everything, so hence the reason for taking it off the frame. But yeah, really like the pump. I actually don't know if you can get replacement parts through Northern Tool. I would sure hope so. But really like the pump. Haven't had any problems with it. The only thing that kind of ticks me off about this is that it comes with a GX 160 engine. The engine is working extremely hard to run this pump, like I said, with 8 sprinklers or whatever it is. And what's interesting about this pump versus the other one, the other pump seems to take almost no horsepower at all to run it. Even if you're free flowing, as much water as you possibly can, the engine isn't noticeably working at all. And if you deadhead the pump, doesn't seem to make any difference if you're running, a nozzle on the end of it, a spray nozzle on the end of it, or you got a couple sprinklers going. The engine tone, the audible sound of the engine working doesn't seem to change at all. This one here, it's really kind of funny, and I don't exactly know why it happens. But this one will make pressure, like if you deadhead the pump at full RPM, it doesn't seem to strain the engine very much. But if you're just free flowing, you have the suction side here into the river or whatever, and you have it just free flowing out of the discharge here at full RPM, it seems to lug the engine quite a bit. I don't know why that is. Pressure doesn't seem to do it. It seems to be flow that does it. So I guess if anybody knows why that is, let me know, because like I said, the other one doesn't seem to make a difference. And so yeah, the reason for swapping shit is that this is a GX 160 engine. Right there. And that other engine that I have is a 200. So I'm going to put the 200 engine on this pump and this 160 engine on the Harbor Freight pump. And the other thing too, obviously you can tell that this engine is recoil start only, which, is fine until the rope breaks. And so the other one is electric start, and I'm going to see if I can find a, teeny weeny little cute battery that I can put on there just enough to turn the engine over. Granted, it's going to make it heavier, and it's already got the starter on it, so it's going to be heavier because of that anyways. But I like having multiple ways of starting it, and yeah, of course the battery can die, but it's 12 volts, so you can just jump it off the pickup or whatever, or pull start it if the pull starter is working. But yeah, options is a good thing. It's nice to have a lot of options, especially when we're talking about something like fire suppression. But so I'm gonna pull this pump housing apart and show you the difference of this one compared to the other pump, and start getting ready to swap shit over. And then I'll take a video of converting this to the Cyclone pre-cleaner. Oh, and these little snap-on little 3/8 impacts here are just about the coolest shit since sliced bread, and they're really, really snappy too, which is really cool. I do like Milwaukee, but their tools, the speed will like ramp up to try and be gentler or something like that, where you can see this one here is really, really snappy. And I like the impact being a lot snappier rather than being gentle. gentle ramp up on the Milwaukees. And I guess while it's in frame here, so I got a 2-inch cam lock for the draft hose inlet to the pump, and then this is 1.5-inch national hose, so 1.5-inch fire hose thread right here. And did this for a couple reasons. This is what the Forest Service uses in my area. And this is also what municipal firefighters use in my area. So I know for damn sure that the local firefighters have adapters to go from this to, 2.5-inch or whatever else, if it's a big fire and, shit has completely hit the fan and everything. Where if I had a cam lock on here, I don't necessarily know if they would carry adapters for that. I have adapters of my own, but I wanted to put the 1.5-inch national hose on here just to, not need any adapters in the first place. And the cool thing is that they're actually about the same diameter, the 2-inch cam lock and the national hose. So that's 1.8, close enough. And you can actually see here that the inside of the national hose here is 1.6. So yeah, this reduces it a wee little bit, but the fact that local municipal firefighters and wildland firefighters can just screw straight onto that, I really like that. And most holy fuck, words are hard. Most proper fire pumps have the 1.5 inch, well, of this size anyways, have like the, God, what the fuck are they? The Mark II pumps? I think they are the 2-stroke Mark II pumps that, loud as hell and have been used by the Forest Service for decades. They're 1.5 inch national hose on both sides, I think. And so, like, if you're talking about the Forest Service guys, their draft hoses are 1.5 national hose. And so there you go. There's your adapter right there from 2-inch cam lock. And I've got just a little garden trailer absolutely chock full of different adapters. Oh yeah, that's it. What, Mercedes Textiles Mark II pump, I think it is. Sure, somebody's gonna correct me on that, but if I'm wrong, by all means. Okay, so you can see here how this is different. So this housing here looks different, and we still have a cast iron stator if it wants to come out. And I don't know what... Oh, man. Am I missing something? Being stupid? Or is that just kind of stuck? Okay, yeah, it's just kind of stuck. Oh, that's right. I siliconed it on. I remember now. Not that it Not that it needs to be, but it'll help it from rattling around and hopefully create just a wee bit better seal to try and increase the pressure just a little bit. But so you can see there's a stator on there, but this is a closed impeller, so you can't actually stick your fingers in between the blades there, veins. I don't know. Kind of making up terms here as I go. Because this is older, this might be kind of stuck on the shaft a little bit. Sure don't want to break it. God, this isn't threaded, is it? Don't actually remember now. It's been so long since okay. That seems to be working. I think it's just yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, okay, there we go. It's just stuck on there a little bit, so probably be a good idea to go back together with some anti-seize, but so you can see how tiny the passageways are on this, and this is very common for a higher pressure pump to have a impeller design like this. But so this works the same way that the other one does. It's just a little bit different design. But so water comes in through the center there, and yeah, again, of course, this is on here. And is there a direction for this? Yes, because it has a cutout right there. So yeah, when this spins, it creates a low pressure in the center there, drawing up the water, and then spits it out through these little tiny slits in the impeller here. And hence why you don't want to try and pass big chunks through this thing, because they will get caught in the impeller, because obviously that stone there is not making it through that impeller. But it's a different pump designed for a different purpose with different pros and cons. And that's why I get so worked up when you read on the internet or just talking to a buddy or whatever of, oh, what's the best fill in blank here? Well, there is no best. We don't live in a perfect world. Everything has trade-offs, and shit like this is a perfect example of it. the pump creates higher pressure, which is a good thing if you're wanting to, run a bunch of sprinklers or pump water to a high elevation, or reach out a good distance with like a spray nozzle or something like that. But it comes at the cost of it is more sensitive to contamination in the water because of the tight little passageways in here. And if you were to get something caught inside of this impeller, it would be much more difficult to clean it out than it would that other Harbor Freight pump where you just pop 4 bolts off on the front, shovel out the debris in the bottom of it, slap it back together, and you're good to go. And I don't actually remember if this thing came with an inlet screen for the pump or not, but let me go grab grab the screen that I have for this one here and show you something right quick. So, yeah, forgive me. I don't remember if this came with an inlet screen or not. It's been long enough that I've had it that I don't remember. But this is the screen that I have bought for it, and I sandblasted it down so that I could MIG weld this onto here because they're just like the threaded portion is just barely tack welded into these things. And I think I got this at a local place around here that is one of about everything. So I don't know where you'd find this online, but if you can see here, the holes in the screen are smaller than the holes in the impeller. So, of course, in theory, in a perfect world, you would set this on top of some, rocks in the river, like, big rocks, like, foot diameter rocks or whatever. Ideally, you would set this on top of some rocks, put a shovel in the water and put this on top of it or something to try and keep as much debris out of this pump as you possibly can and to prevent shit getting to the screen in the first place. But that being said, you also want to have a really fine screen. So like these are some of the rocks that I pulled out of that Harbor Freight pump. These obviously would not fit into the screen in the first place. And so if we look at that shit that I took out of the Harbor Freight pump, you can see a lot of these guys would not pass through this screen. A lot of those would not pass through the screen, but you want to get a screen, an inlet screen that has smaller holes than your pump can handle. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, you want the screen to be tighter, or I guess what's a different way to word that? Fuck, words are hard. You want what passes through the screen to be much smaller than the largest piece of contamination that the impeller can handle. I think something like so. And so you want to be aware of what type of pump you have and what the solid handling capability of the pump is. And shit like a semi-trash pump or a full-on trash pump will actually tell you it can handle 5/8 solids or 3/4, or if it's like a 6-inch trash pump, it can handle 1.5-inch solids or whatever. Something like this here, this pump says that it's clear water only and that it has no solid handling ability whatsoever, which Like in a perfect world, yes, of course, you would only put nothing but water through this thing. The reality of it is that it's going to suck up some stuff. You know, if you have, and again, talking about like a wildfire scenario here, if you're trying to draft out of, you know, your neighbor's pond or something like that, you don't know exactly what's in the bottom of the pond. Assuming that you can't, you know, see into the bottom of it, it's at night or whatever. You know, even if you stick this, your strainer down into the water and you put it on top of a shovel, or you find, you know, some big rocks and stack a bunch of big rocks, put it on there, whatever, you know, say somebody is like walking through the water or whatever and stirs up sand and shit with their feet. You know, you want to have a screen that's not going to allow anything harmful into the pump, because obviously, you know, really small bits of sand would pass through here without much problem. But yeah, you just want to have a screen that is appropriate for your pump. And hopefully it makes sense and not rambling on too damn long here. Although I always seem to ramble on to some degree or another. But, jeez. Rusty shaft. But so yeah, I'll get everything cleaned up here and swapped over to the different engines and such. And yeah, I'll post a video of doing the cyclone cleaner on this one.